Hello everybody, and welcome to day 80 of the road to 2K on chess.com. Today we're sitting at 1911, and we've been on a little bit of a spill since we crossed 1900. It looks like we're going to play a 1923 from the Philippines, and they play e4. So, per the usual, because we haven't prepped anything else yet, we're going to play the Caro-Kann, and we're going to see where they want to go with this. So they play knight to d2. We'll play d captures e4. And after knight captures e4, I play knight to d7. Because lately, I've been playing more of like a Karpov variation. It looks like they might play a alien gambit anyways. If I play the move h6, they do come in. We've looked at this before. The move is queen to b6. They can certainly take. And it's a very tricky position to handle. I don't particularly love this part of it. And what I'm tempted to do here is, do we actually just play f takes e6? Because now this bishop check, we just play king to d8. I think we're going to do that. King d8 is obviously forced, and our opponent castles. So now we kind of have to navigate how we want to get out of this position. The first logical move to me would typically be e5, but I'm seeing that doesn't work. I don't know if I love queen back. I don't think it's the worst idea. We could actually play maybe a break with e5, and if push takes. Let's do that. Let's play c5. Trying to break out of the position. We obviously can't take back with the knight, so we're going to take back with the queen. The bishop comes out, attacking this way. And now maybe just queen to... Let's play queen d6. The queen steps over. The idea might be to bring the rook in, so we do have to be mindful of that. I think here we can maybe play... Well, if I play knight here, I'm worried about this. But it's only temporary, yeah? Knight, rook, queen. What if I just slide the queen over now? Like queen to c6. The rook comes in. I don't hate knight to d5, attacking the bishop. We're going to go ahead and do that. I do need to, if I want to continue to play the Karpov variation, I definitely need to start getting familiar with some of the theory here. I suppose I overlooked bishop to e4, but then we'll play knight to f6. The bishop drops back. Our dark square bishop is really struggling. I could play a sneaky move like e5, where I'm now targeting the light square bishop. And because of how much this is restricting our position, I think that I'm going to go ahead and take it. So now We have a little bit more play than we had previously. Let's play the move e4. The knight comes in. I like the move a knight to e5 here, and now we're threatening to play bishop to h3. We are also threatening to play that works. Are you going to take? Because now we have this, winning the queen. And obviously there's going to be a discovered attack next. But I think we're doing okay here. It's obviously a little bit tough. Our opponent obviously sidesteps. So let's play knight captures. Our opponent is probably going to take back with the f-rook, I have to imagine. And now I do have queen captures e6. Now they do have a discovered check. We'll play king to e8. And now they're going to go after this pawn. With the material that we're up, how do I want to do this? Maybe I start with the move b6. And if our opponent takes, we're obviously just going to take back. Now here, I have the move rook to d8. And if takes, we have queen takes. We're going to play rook d1 check. The bishop blocks, which I don't know if I fully expected. I'm going to play e6, giving up a pawn. Maybe king to f7. Let's play bishop to d6. And we're still up this exchange. Or we're up a piece. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Now, how do we actually win? Because as we saw yesterday, being up a exchange doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win the game. Let's keep our pieces on light squares. The rook comes over to a4. I'm just going to go ahead and play a5. Our opponent comes over and attacks this pawn, which is now attacked twice. So I'm just going to play g5. And it feels like our opponent's flailing a little bit. Obviously, they can do whatever they feel like they need to do. I don't know if it's always the best move. But here, I might just play rook to c5. And if they take, I will take back. Ideally, I want to try and get this dark square bishop out of here. The bishop comes in. Let's pin it. And now we have two attackers on this dark square bishop. And I think we've finally gotten through. Our opponent takes. We can actually just play rook captures d4 and the rook can't escape. So this is even easier. The opponent can obviously take h6, and now we just play king to g6. This is a pretty simple conversion. Our opponent is obviously allowed to play for as long as they would like, but there is nothing more that they can do here. I'm going to mop everything else up. Let's just go ahead, play king captures h6. The king comes up. We're going to play king to g6. Probably rook captures a2, swing on over. That also works. And now if they don't move their king off the file, we have e5. Our opponent opts not to take. They obviously have to take back here. We're going to take this. And I am not honestly even going to mess with it. I'm just going to play my rook back here, put him in a little box. I'm going to play king to g5. Go ahead and just bring my bishop back. And for sake of my sanity, we're going to go rook on a1. Check, pre-move. And we pre-move rooks the whole rest of the way, knowing that we can't stalemate. So, GG's to our opponent. We finally get another win. We're back up to 19-19 after today's game. Let's look at the game review and see how we did. So, on today's game, we played with an 87.6 and our opponent played with an 81.4. After e4, c6, d4, d5, knight d2, d captures, knight d7, and knight g5 was the first move out of theory for us. Knight g to f6 we kind of knew was the best move. After bishop d3, we played h6. And I believe here, what you're supposed to do is actually play e6, which then just allows for this dark square bishop to get out so we don't get in the same nonsense that happened in the game. h6, we knew knight to e6 is a move. I played queen to b6, which is best, knight to f3, ignoring this. And f captures e6 was completely wrong. I think what we probably need to do here is maybe we need to lash back out with c5, and if takes. But instead, we allowed for bishop g6 check, king to d8, and castles, and already the position is much worse for us. However, we are up the piece, so if we're able to consolidate, that's going to be how we win the game. So c5, d takes, queen takes, bishop e3, and queen to d6. Queen to d6 felt slightly wrong. I thought about trying to be more active with the queen, but I was a little bit worried about the queen getting trapped somewhere. But queen e1, queen to c6, and apparently this allows them to pin the knight to the king with the move rook to d1, which does look like it hangs a pawn initially. But I suppose that the idea is that our opponent has the move knight to e5. So we played knight to d5, simultaneously blocking the pin and trying to create some discoveries on this light square bishop. After bishop to d2, which weakened their pin, we played e5, threatening queen takes bishop. And after c4, I think it just helps us to go ahead and get this piece off the board. So queen capture g6 was correct, temporarily hanging the knight. We played e4, which is immediately wrong, and our opponent, instead of tempoing the queen with knight to h4, played a knight to the center of the board. So we played knight to e5. Our opponent played knight to e6 check. We were able to take, which now puts us up 2 pieces, which does force our opponent's hand into d takes e6, knight f3 check, king h1, and knight captures e1. Now, although during the game I know I said I expected rook captures knight, I was thinking about the move bishop captures knight because then it's this revealed check. After which I was probably going to play the move king king to c7, just trying to get out of the way. Rook f captures e1 is the best move, and it makes sense just to put more pressure on this pawn. So I played queen captures e6, bishop a5, king to e8, and rook to d4. And after b6, bishop to c3, and rook to d8. What I missed is I thought we had a back rank mate, which is completely on me. After rook d captures e4, queen captures e4, and rook d1, I completely missed that our opponent has bishop to e1. So I played e6, sacrificing the pawn to play king to f7, and then I was going to have ideas of bringing this out. However, My opponent very promptly ignored it. They played g3 to create that escape square. King to f7, king to g2, and bishop to d6. So now our other rook can join the fray, and we are just up a rook. After bishop c3, rook c8, rook a4, a5, rook g4, and g5. We were supporting all of our pawns, and the way these are set up, it's actually very difficult to target the h6 pawn and the b6 pawn. After h4, rook c5, bishop d4, and rook c4. As the coach says on the side, pin and win. There's 2 attackers on the bishop. There's no checks. So this is just a clean win of the piece. After h captures g4, I thought this was actually the move of the game. Is rook d captures d4. Is the rook does not have any vertical mobility, so it's forced to trade itself off. We're now up 2 pieces in an endgame, and the move king to g6 stops this pawn from running any further. This game is well in hand. After f3, rook d2, we opted to just take our pawn, king to g6, a4, rook b4. After king to h4, e5 is a punishing move, just really utilizing the pin. After king g4, e captures, g captures, rook captures f4. I opted to take off the rest of the pawns. It may not be the quickest conversion, but what you notice I do here is I have had enough stalemates in this series. I'm just so tired of them. So what I do is I put my bishop back here so it doesn't cut off any squares on this side of the board. And I could have promoted to a queen. It does all the same. I figure with 2 rooks, you're not cutting off the diagonal, so it's a lot easier to make sure you don't stalemate. So under promote to a rook, rook a3, rook to b4, and then we could just pre-move the rest of the game, and rook a1 is checkmate. Now chess.com says we played at a 2300 level, and our opponent played with an 1850 with a perfect opening. So we got to do some studying in the Karpov, but that's just how chess goes. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you have any ideas for how I can play better, leave it down in the comments. And lastly, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, and that way you don't miss any of my future content. And on that note, I will see you guys on the next episode.